It's Christmas Eve, and inside a warm, cozy home, a family is gathered around their glowing tree. The air is filled with laughter and the soft rustle of wrapping paper. Children's voices ring with delight as they tear open their gifts. It's a perfect picture of holiday joy, a scene of pure, untroubled happiness. No one could ever imagine that this peaceful night is about to crumble into a terrifying ordeal. At the heart of this family is Marcus, a loving husband, a doting father, and in his public life, a respected political figure. But tonight, there are no formal suits or political debates. He's just a dad in a comfy sweater, soaking in the quiet moments with his wife Carla, and their two kids, Kesha and Elijah. His daughter proudly holds up a new book for him to see, while his son zips around the room, giddy with excitement over every new toy. Carla, a teacher known for her gentle spirit, watches over them all, her warm smile making the home feel even safer. It's a family united by love on a calm winter night. But that tranquility is shattered in an instant. A distant wail of sirens cuts through the silence. At first, Marcus dismisses it as something far away, nothing to do with them. Then, flashing red and blue, lights paint the walls of their living room. His heart sinks. Before he can even process what's happening, a sharp, forceful knock echoes from the front door. Marcus opens it to find the police officers, their expressions stern, their posture rigid and confrontational. Without explaining anything, one of them states they need to speak with the family immediately. Confused, but assuming it's just a misunderstanding about something in the neighborhood, Marcus steps aside. That's when the nightmare begins. The officers don't ask questions. They make accusations. They accuse the family of suspicious activity, citing a vague disturbance they can't even describe. Their tone is sharp, their questions hostile. It's clear they've already decided the family is guilty of something. The more Marcus tries to calmly ask for details, for any shred of clarity, the more aggressive they become. It's painfully obvious this isn't a routine check. It's profiling. They barge into the home, their baseless accusations echoing off the walls. They refuse to listen. They don't care that it's Christmas. They don't care that the children are watching, terrified. Carla's face goes pale as she instinctively pulls Kesha and Elijah closer, trying to shield them from the scene unfolding. Their innocent eyes are wide with confusion, unable to understand why police officers are treating their loving home like a crime scene. Marcus struggles to remain respectful, to de-escalate the situation. But the officers are relentless. They speak to him not as a father, not as a homeowner, but as a criminal. With every passing moment, the air in the room grows colder, heavier, more suffocating. This peaceful Christmas has been stolen from them. And what's worse, the officers have no idea who they're talking to. The hostility continues to mount until one of the officers finally glances down at Marcus's identification, which he'd been asked to provide. The officer's eyes narrow. Here he is, the name again, his expression shifting from aggression to confusion, then to shock. Marcus Daniels. Wait a minute, is this who I think it is? In a single heartbeat, everything flips. The officers, who were just barking orders moments before, suddenly soften their tone. Their aggressive posture relaxes. Their attitude becomes cautious, almost apologetic. They finally recognize him not as a random suspect, but as an influential political figure. Their sudden show of respect is sickening, because it exposes the painful truth behind their visit. They were never acting out of genuine concern for safety. They were acting on prejudice. And while their tone may have changed, the damage, the fear, and the humiliation had already been inflicted. The family's perfect Christmas was already broken, and the scars from that night would last far longer than the holiday season. The moment the officers realized their mistake, everything changed. Their harsh commands softened into nervous apologies. They called it a misunderstanding, insisting they didn't know who Marcus was. It was as if their treatment would have been different if they'd known his status. But their sudden shift in tone couldn't erase the terror the family had just endured. As the story broke, public outrage exploded. Social media ignited with anger, with people demanding accountability and calling out the blatant racial profiling. The fact that the officer's behavior only changed after realizing Marcus was a public official exposed just how deep these biases run. News outlets ran headlines about a black family wrongfully targeted on Christmas. Protesters gathered, holding signs that demanded justice and an end to discriminatory policing. Activist groups joined in, calling for reforms and asking the hard question: how many other families go through this when there are no cameras, no public figures, and no one watching? Back in their home, the Daniels family was reeling. The children were left with fear and confusion. Carla grappled with a deep sense of frustration and helplessness, and Marcus, a man who had dedicated his career to fighting for fairness, was now facing the very injustice he had worked so hard to dismantle. He knew this was bigger than just his family. It was about every family that had ever felt powerless in the face of racial bias. As the official investigation into the officers began, Marcus channeled his pain into purpose. He started speaking out publicly, demanding real, meaningful change. He wasn't just asking for disciplinary action. He was calling for long-term reforms to root out racial profiling for good. His powerful stance inspired countless people who now saw him not just as a leader, but as a survivor determined to protect others from the same fate. This incident became a symbol. It was a stark reminder of how quickly joy can be stolen, how deeply rooted injustice remains, and how critical it is to speak out against it. Christmas, a night that should have been about peace, became a moment that exposed a broken system. But it also ignited a movement. It reminded society that justice requires constant vigilance and that we can never afford to look away. The Daniels family's courage opened up a much wider conversation about fairness, privilege, and responsibility. It urged communities to listen, to learn, and to act. Because true justice isn't just about punishing wrongdoing after it happens. It's about creating a world where no family, anywhere, has to endure fear or humiliation simply because of the color of their skin. And from that heartbreaking night, a powerful truth emerged. Change begins the moment even one family decides to raise its voice and demand to be heard. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please share it to keep the conversation going. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that matters.
रैप से अच्छा प्लेटर कर ले, इसमें 4 पीस रैप से 2 बंदे खा सकते हैं। एक प्लेटर कर ले, बाकी और देख ले क्या प्लेटर कर ले। दूध हुई तो फिर कुछ और मंगा लेंगे, नहीं तो बीटर मंगा लेंगे। क्या करते हैं? अच्छा कौन है?